Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back in another video, and today we're going to be talking about the news that's been going on pretty much now. Well, Sony just announced, their thing today, their plans with their Marvel characters, and it's really interesting to see, where the female superhero genre is going right now. I'm very, very excited that we're seeing a new dynamic here, and we're seeing somewhat of a change. Now, there were other movies. I mean, there was the Catwoman movie, which bombed badly years ago, and that probably, I guess, set the female genre back a decade from being a thing. But that wasn't really supposed to be a serious movie, anyways. But now that we're in this whole cinematic universe type era, where all the superheroes are supposed to coincide one another, and it's supposed to basically lead into something else. It's very interesting how within a year, so to speak, things have changed. Wonder Woman came out, and not last year, and did very well, and was a huge success, and probably the only really big Warner Brothers hit so far since they started their universe, their cinematic universe. But it was huge, because what Wonder Woman did. I mean, Wonder Woman is a huge, huge franchise, and it's one of the most known superheroes for females out there, DC or Marvel. And when she came out and was able to do what she did, it really changed the industry. For female superheroes. It's just amazing how things have come because of this one film. And I say that because I'm a huge, obviously, Wonder Woman fan. I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan. But I, see how good the film did, and now we are at the point where now we're hearing all these studios, whether it be DC, Marvel, or Fox or Sony that have some of the Marvel characters. We're seeing a lot of either individual superhero films with female leads, or we're seeing now, as we're hearing announcements, of group superhero films for females, and it's very interesting, and I really feel that Wonder Woman had a huge part in this. DC, with all their weird decisions that they've made for the past 5 years trying to establish their cinematic universe, this was probably the one thing they did that they got right. And now we are seeing films being announced for all these superheroes, and I think it goes back to Wonder Woman. It's no coincidence that there's going to be a Captain Marvel movie coming out next year. I think that had a lot to do with the success of Wonder Woman. There had been several years to have done a Captain Marvel movie. They had a lot of time to have done a Captain Marvel movie, and they just didn't want to do it. I believe the Disney COO had publicly said that he wasn't interested in doing female superheroes because he wanted the superhero genre to appeal to boys. Not that boys wouldn't be interested in female superheroes. I mean, like, whatever. But anyways, So basically, Wonder Woman does great for Warner Brothers, and all of a sudden we get an announcement about a Captain Marvel movie shortly after this, in development, and we're getting it next year. Now, I personally, from what I'm seeing and hearing about the Captain Marvel movie, is it's probably not going to do that well. Um, I heard it's been really rushed out. Now I could be wrong about this, but that's what I've been hearing. And I personally think it's going to be their first film that's not going to do that well, but I could be wrong. I mean, it's Marvel, and Marvel has had home runs for every film they've done so far. So, I mean, it could do well, but I don't know. I'm personally not thinking, based on what I'm seeing and hearing, that I don't think it's going to do that good at the box office. Not that that will matter, because Marvel's still going to be fine, regardless of what happens. Um, but the more interesting thing isn't really about, what that is. I mean, Fox also were influenced by the Wonder Woman movie, for the Marvel side that they own, and that is where Dark Phoenix comes in. Dark Phoenix was done by 20th Century, or is being done by 20th Century Fox, despite all the delays that are happening and the possible merger of Fox with Disney. That film is still going to come out. And despite all the delays and pullbacks, that's gonna be there. It's gonna come out. New Mutants is coming out. It's happening. Don't know about any of the other films that are in production, because I mean there are films that are still in production. I mean, there's gonna be films that are gonna be production starting next year before this even becomes official. And we don't know exactly if those films will come out still too. Regardless, the Dark Phoenix film will come out. And the reason why the Dark Phoenix film is a thing is because of the Wonder Woman film as well. Fox obviously don't have as many female superheroes out there that at their disposal as like what Disney and Marvel have. Um, but they have, their, franchises that they got before Marvel was a part of Disney and Marvel Studios became a thing. And this led to them doing the Dark Phoenix movie, have a female superhero lead. So we're seeing those, from the studios. We're seeing Fox Marvel, and we're seeing regular Marvel or Marvel Studios. We're seeing them do their, things. We're hearing that Marvel Studios is going to be working on a Black Widow movie. I'm actually excited about that, because I really like to see what they're going to do with a character like Black Widow. Because Black Widow obviously has been in the Avengers, a group movie or group character for the most part. I'm very eager to see what they're going to do with her, because I mean she's kind of like, she's not exactly like Batman, but in a way, in terms of not having like actual powers. She's more of a fighter, with guns and shit. But I mean, badass, of course. But I'm very eager to see how they're going to do an individual movie with her. And I'm actually looking forward to that. But the big news really is that we're also now hearing, on the wake of Sony's Venom movie continuing to be a huge hit. It just actually passed the Wonder Woman movie by $1 million as of this week, and still is doing very good in China, as well as other places. Actually, domestically and worldwide, it's actually done better than Black Panther. Black Panther, I think, has done better here in the United States than Venom, but Venom did better worldwide. So, as well as China. China, they freaking blew everyone away. But because of the success of the Venom movie, obviously, as we all know, Sony wants to do their own, universe with, the Spider-Man characters that they own, because Spider-Man has a lot of characters in the comic books that Sony owns the cinematic rights to. Now, I'm very eager to wonder how they're going to do a group female cast. I don't know exactly if doing a group female cast for Sony is exactly going to be a good idea. It's going to really depend on what they're planning. I know DC or Warner Brothers is planning on doing the Bird in the Prey, which is the Harley Quinn movie. Which, I mean, that could do well. I mean, it depends again on who they're planning on having in there. But I mean, that could do good as well too. But they announced that because of how good, the Wonder Woman movie did good, and so they did the sequel for that, and that's why they're doing that. And they're also announced, besides the Wonder Woman sequel, they announced obviously the Supergirl movie, because Supergirl is doing very good in the CW TV show, and because of that, that's wanting them to do an individual film and see where she's at as a character in that franchise, basically, or where they're at with that, because obviously Superman is not working, because no one gives a shit about Superman, as we all know, because let's face it, he's Superman and people don't fucking like Superman. Excuse my French, but it's the truth. So now they're going to try to do Supergirl, who's doing successful on her own CW TV show. I didn't even know she was on a TV show. But then again, I don't watch that shit. So there's that whole announcement. And then, I mean, it's like I said, it's going to all depend on what Sony's planning. In terms of what their group female cast is going to be. I don't know exactly what Marvel plans on doing, because I'm sure Marvel's going to try to do something now too. But in terms of what they're planning on doing with this group, with this team up type thing, it's really going to depend on what they do. Are they going to have like a female Spider-Man? Gwen, as a female Spider-Man. Maybe, I don't know if that applies to the contract or not. Maybe this is why Mary Jane isn't in Homecoming. A lot of people complained about Mary Jane not being in Homecoming. They had to make up that fictional Michelle character, that's abbreviated MJ. I do know that any character that appears in the MCU for Spider-Man is not in the Sony universe, the Sony Marvel universe. So, unless they decide to, because of the success of the Venom film, they decide to collab with each other, and have Venom cross over with Spider-Man. I know Tom Hardy wants to do that. But that's going to be anyone's guess that that's going to happen. But that doesn't happen, which I don't think it will. It doesn't happen. Maybe they're going to have like an Mary Jane Spider-Man. They have in their animation like thing or whatever movie, they have Gwen as a Spider-Woman, basically. Maybe they're gonna do that, in a group. I know I heard Black Cat as another character that they want to use. She's basically a ripoff of Catwoman. But whatever. I mean, when I see her, I'm gonna probably think of Catwoman. I'm sure everyone's gonna think of Catwoman when they see that character. I mean, that's basically a ripoff. But I've heard those characters. I don't know exactly. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing exactly. Obviously, Fox right now, is probably going to be merged with Disney soon. So obviously, they're probably not going to announce any group female thing anytime soon. Um, Other than their Dark Phoenix movie, which is kind of unfortunate because I think I still stick to my guns on this. I think they should have went with Robe. I think Robe would have been a better choice than I think Robe would have been a better choice than Dark Phoenix, especially since Marvel decided to do a Captain Marvel movie. Yeah, the movies wouldn't be related to each other, but Fox could have gotten more marketing for Robe because Robe is kind of connected to Captain Marvel, in a lot of ways, and for their movies to come out around the same time would have made more sense. In my personal opinion, would have made more sense to have done a Robe movie. But that was their decision. But I mean, that's just my whole thing on it. That was just my whole thing on it. Was just like I just think it would have made more marketing sense. But yeah, the female. Basically, the point of this video is to basically really tell you guys as well as the news about the group the movies. It basically tell you the real historical significance of what one movie can do to change the way studios want to do movies. Before Wonder Woman, female movies, female lead movies, they weren't a thing. They weren't something that people were, dying to go see or whatever. I was interested in seeing one, but it wasn't something these studios were in a rush to do. And now all of a sudden, because of one movie, one successful movie can change perspectives. And that's something people need to understand. It just only takes one movie. It doesn't matter if it's from Warner Bros. It doesn't matter if it's from Sony. It doesn't matter if it's from Fox. It doesn't matter if it's from Disney. One movie can change the perspective of the competitor. And we've seen that with DC. DC got their ass kicked with Marvel's Avengers, and that led to them trying to do a Justice League movie, which was rushed and honestly was totally not executed correctly. I've been on record. I feel like they made a huge mistake with the way they approached the DC universe in terms of the superheroes they picked for the Justice League. I said they should have used the original 2000s Justice League, and they should have stuck with that story. It would have been better. It would have been more understandable, especially since they were rushing shit. It would have been more easy for people to recall because most millenniums that watch this stuff remember that more than trying to create a completely different story and try to put it together like they did. And then put Cyborg in there, which no one gave a fuck about. Cyborg should be a Teen Titan. They should have done a Teen Titan movie similar to how the Guardians of the Galaxy is in Marvel, which no one even knew who Guardians of the Galaxies were. So I guarantee you the Teen Titans would have worked in a movie. But, they didn't do that, of course, DC doesn't really listen, to what fans really want. And I still say that DC has better superheroes than Marvel, but in terms of the movies, they really don't make good decisions. And that's on the real, guys. That's on the real. So, yeah, guys, that's really the thing. It just takes one film for people to change their perspectives, and you're seeing it now with Marvel. They're trying to implement more female lead movies because of the Wonder Woman movie. We could see it more with any other superheroes. This Aquaman movie that's coming out for DC. I don't think it's gonna do good, by the way. I'm not a fan of Aquaman. Really never was. I don't really hate him. I don't really hate Aquaman. I just see his character is such a joke. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a joke. I mean, yeah, I know the movie is supposed to make him more serious. You know, it's gonna be a more serious Aquaman, but I mean, I can't take him seriously. He's a joke. He was always a joke. Like that's the thing. He's a meme. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, he is. He's a meme. Like he's a joke. Like that's the way I see it. Like, but if the movie is a successful, I mean, you could probably see Marvel wanting to really get those rights back to their Aquaman, which is Nor whatever hell his name is, which is currently owned by Universal, or it's not really owned by Universal. It's kind of a situation like Hulk. Um, Hulk's rights. The only difference it's even more complicated than Hulk's rights. But it's kind of like similar to that. Is the closest analogy to that character. But I'm telling you right now, if that Aquaman movie does really good, you'll see it. You'll see them try to work with Universal to try to get a movie out for them, because they're gonna try to get their own then Aquaman movie out, because that's the character of Aquaman in Marvel. Um, and they'll do it just like they did with Wonder Woman. They did it with Wonder Woman did really good, and that just changed cinema, where now all these superhero studios that have superhero licensed characters are all of a sudden wanting to do superhero leads for females. Now, as well as group movies for females. Now we're seeing it all the time now with them, and this is really why. It just takes one movie. It just takes one movie to do it. And we might see some changes with Venom. I mean, we're already seeing changes with Venom. With Venom doing as great as it did, we're starting to see Sony starting to announce more movies from their own Spider-Man universe. And who knows what Kevin Feige and Disney are thinking right now at how good the movie did. I mean, I'm sure they're going to think of something, on this, and maybe they do want to do a collaboration with, the upcoming Venom movies. Who knows? We don't know what, changes happen because of this. You just never know what these studios are thinking. But I mean, I really personally think that Wonder Woman's movie, because of how good it did, it really influenced all these superhero studios to really do more female characters, lead characters, and that's the result we've had now. I mean, it's within a year. I mean, we're seeing announcements, we're seeing movies being produced, we're seeing this, we're seeing that. It's just amazing at how things can change just like that. Um, but I would like to know what you guys think. What do you guys think of this news? What do you think about individual female characters in movies? What do you think in the group movies? Do you think a group female movie can work for Sony, DC, or even Marvel? Who cares? I'd like to get that discussion out there, and like to hear what you guys think. And what movies are you looking forward to? What female movies are you looking forward to? I just want to put that out there. I'm very interested to see what they do with this female dynamic that they're doing with a lot of these superhero studios that have superhero characters. I'm very interested to see what is going to happen. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video, my reviews, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.